Ooh, yeah. What a tune, man. What a tune. Yes, people, welcome back to another stream. That tune, man. That tune always gets me gassed. I love that. Listen to your heart. It's our anthem over here, man. It's our anthem. It's what gets us gassed. How we all doing? Welcome back. Welcome back. Been a day or two since we last spoke. Sorting a few things out. We've got a few streams planned for the week. Afternoon, everybody who's joining us. We've got Mr. Fro, Jack Lee, MSSSS, Puneet, Tukolsky, Only Bloom Village, and John. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're all doing very well. Smash that big thumbs up button. Helps me and Joey Boy here massively on the channel, bringing new content as daily as possible. But, like, there's no games on midweek this week, so it's kind of hard for us to, bring loads as such. We'll be kind of saying the same things over and over again. But big up a girl as well in the chat. We want to talk about a few things you see in the title. There's some transfer news. We're going to talk a bit about, we're going to build up slowly towards Wolves on the weekend as well. And we're just going to shoot the shit, let you guys have your say as well, and we'll have a big old conversation. But yeah, that's the plan. We're going to do 3:30 every day, today, tomorrow, Friday, and then we'll work towards Wolves, of course. So listen, smash the thumbs up button, man. Smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new. Just past 8.1k. Round of applause. Well done, everybody. Community effort. Community effort. And let's get cracking into the news. Right. Jack Grealish is where we're going to start. I spoke a bit about this yesterday on LB's channel. It's come as a surprise to me that this is even news, that this is even something that the world is talking about. Chelsea fans are getting very gassed over Jack Grealish, which is a surprise because, everybody wanted to hate on Jack Grealish. Everybody wanted to say how useless he was, how unimpactful he was for Manchester City over the course of his 2-3 seasons, whatever it is now, and all of a sudden he's linked with an exit and linked with a certain club. Everyone's like, yeah, or the Chelsea fans like, yeah, get him in. I don't think it's happening, first of all, and we'll talk about why, but I assume you've seen this news, Joe. Jack Grealish, he can't leave.
I mean, I have seen it, and I am very, very much surprised. I don't know where it's coming from. Personally, I think it's a lot of nonsense. I think if you ask the majority of level-headed people who watch us week in, week out, then I think you come to the same realization, you get the same answer, that we've played better when he's been on the pitch. Like, the team as a whole has played better when he's been involved, even if he's necessarily not even like playing out of his skin, which even then he's still been playing well. But just having him on the pitch, we play better. So I really don't see where this has come from. I mean, you can't put it down to lack of game time because he's been injured. Like, obviously, looking from the outside in, if you were to look at his appearances and his minutes played, it's going to be substantially lower than last season. But obviously, there's context, again, the injuries. Like, he can't do anything about that. So I don't see where this has come from. And if this is true, I want to know who sanctioned this, to be honest, because I think it's ridiculous how we're willing to, after what, 2 seasons, 3 seasons now, get rid of our record signing for no apparent reason other than there's just a bit of interest. We're not desperate to sell. He's not like he wants out. It's not like his contract's bad or anything. Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't know where it's come from.
It doesn't make sense, and I don't think he wants to leave either. I get the feeling that Jack Grealish is very, very happy where he is. He only has played circa 900 minutes this season. As you said, a lot of that's through injury and so on and so forth. He's had a very unfortunate season on that front. I mean, when we first got Jack Grealish, he was a very injury-prone player. He was at Aston Villa. He picked up a lot of problems. And we kind of looked after him very well in his first 2 seasons, didn't we? He didn't have that many major injuries. He was pretty available, pretty reliable, particularly in the treble-winning campaign. Particularly last season, Jack Grealish was so reliable, always there to be called upon, and was really, really good. And then this season, look, it happens. You know what I mean? Players have bad seasons where they're just struck with injury, but I think he's happy. His wages have gone up. I don't think people speak about it. His wages have gone up. He's no longer on 250 grand a week. There must have been a clause in his contract that if he hits a certain amount of games or a certain amount of seasons at the club, I don't know what the clause is, he goes up to 300 grand a week. So Jack Grealish is now on 300 grand a week at Manchester City Football Club, and he's contracted until 2027. Who else is going to give Jack Grealish 300 grand a week right now? Chelsea aren't. I'll tell you that for a fact. Chelsea are not going to give Jack Grealish 300 grand a week, because while we are in the spotlight right now regarding, financial everything, doping, sports washing, you name it. We are at the forefront of criticism for everything. Chelsea are also allegedly, on the books to be charged or accused of some. I don't know. Like I said, this is similar to our situation. I don't claim to be in the know. I don't claim to really know what's going on. But the word is that Chelsea have problems coming down the line. So can they afford to give Jack Grealish 300 grand a week? I would think not. They already have a lot of very high paid players on very long contracts. But this is before City ever even think of the idea of selling Jack Grealish. It wouldn't make sense. I don't see a world where Pep Guardiola is happy to part ways with Jack Grealish, because Pep Guardiola has made Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish, of course, was a very exciting player at Aston Villa, had a decent reputation. Many felt he could make the step up to a bigger and better challenge, as he's done at Man City. And Pep has molded and evolved Jack Grealish into being exactly what he wants, which is a control, possession-based player, a tempo coordinator. So Jack Grealish will very often dictate the pace of the play. That's what he's out there to do. He's this new breed of wingers that Pep Guardiola is enforcing. That your primary function isn't actually to pick up goals and assists. Your primary functioning is to keep the team moving at a good pace. Do not lose the ball. Pick up fouls and be creative where you can. So Pep has spent 2.5 to 3 seasons molding Jack Grealish into being what he is today and what you see him as today. And he's one of the first names in the team sheet when fit. So why all of a sudden will we go, oh, yeah, let's sell him this summer? Especially the fact that we're not recouping the 100 million we spent on him.
I mean, yeah, and who's going to come in for him and give him the money?
Well, we have no fucking wingers. We have Doku, we have Oscar Bob. That's it.
I know.
Who else is an actual winger?
That's the thing. We're talking about Phil Foden can't play on the wing again because it nullifies him. We're at that stage now where he's not. We can't have Phil Foden playing on the wing unless his needs must, and half of our team falls ill or gets injured, and we have to do it. Then we have to do it. But if we don't have to do it, then Phil Foden does not need to be on the wing. So we need wingers, and I mean, look, Bernardo Silva. We've spoken about him countless times. Is he going to be off? Probably. That's another winger down or another potential winger down. So. We're going to need some wingers. Grealish is obviously a wide player. Has played for us as a wide player on the left. Doku played both sides. He hasn't totally nailed down which side he's better on yet, I don't think. There's a lot of debate onto whether Doku's actually better on the right because he's right-footed and, his game of taking on players and getting to the byline, he'd be more unpredictable on the right, but... I think we kind of bought him to provide competition on the left, but we don't know which side he's on. You've got Oscar Bob, who, again, predominantly right-sided player, but has also played on the left. People keep mentioning Savio. We don't know what the plan is for Savio. I find it ridiculous to even mention, selling Grealish and letting Savio take his place. I find it ridiculous. Grealish has got experience. He's a winner. He's had 3 seasons with us now. He knows what he's doing. We know what to expect of him. He's an experienced player. He's an international. Replacing him with Savio is a very signings that we made in the summer just gone. Not recruiting right in the summer just gone because the players either not being good enough or being too young and being these project players. Does Savio not fit into that mold of project player who we're going to have to wait a few years to potentially get the best out of? So if that's the case, why would you sell Grealish and replace him with Savio? I get there's excitement around Savio, and he's got a bright future. But if we want to win now, we need experienced players. That's why we're being linked to the likes of Kimmich, Paqueta, Bruno G. That's why we're being linked to them, because Pep wants players who are good now. So Grealish is good now, so why would we sell when we're a little bit thin in the wing areas in terms of experience and players who we know are good? Again, Doku's a good player, Oscar Bob's a good player, but neither of them are experienced. Neither of them are the finished product. They're both a little bit, there's Doku especially a little bit inconsistent, or can be a little bit inconsistent. So why would we sell Grealish? I think it's silly.
He's the only reliable winger we have at the club. You know what I'm saying? And people say we put it in the chat there saying we don't really play with wingers. I don't think it really matters. Jack Grealish very often moves infield now. He's often a lot more central than he would have been even last season. So you're talking about the game even what we watched recently, Joe, the Brighton game, the watch along, where we're saying we had 4 attacking midfielders at once. You remember that one where there's
I
just
do, yeah. And Grealish fits that mold. He played as a 10 for Villa.
mm, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I mean, Savio, I've got Savio here on thing. He's 20 years old. Do you know what I'm saying? He's 20 years old. And if you're pinning your hopes on Savio coming in and setting the world alight, coming from Girona to Manchester City, your expectations are probably unrealistic and probably unfair on Savio. Savio falls into the exact same category that Doku fell into last summer. A really young, exciting winger who undoubtedly is going to take time to adapt and to understand what we're doing, because everything we do is so different to everybody else. So you can't pin your hopes on Savio being Jack Grealish's replacement. You can't pin your hopes on Doku being Jack Grealish's replacement. And if we're going to lose Bernardo this summer, if we're going to lose Bernardo, if we're going to lose potentially Kyle Walker, Kevin De Bruyne, I know it's looked like he's going to stay, but you know, if he's in that kind of band of players that there's potential for him to leave, you're looking at losing 3-4 senior members of the squad, important members of the squad, who all need replacing. They all need replacing. Maybe not so much Kyle Walker, but if you sell Jack Grealish and you let Jack Grealish go, you must replace Jack Grealish. And you don't replace him with Savio. You don't replace him with an academy graduate. You replace Jack Grealish with a player for right here, right now. You go and you bring me a Sane. You go and you bring me a Vinny. You go and you bring me someone who's guaranteed to bang, because we're moving towards it. We're moving in a direction now where we're relying too much on players who are not proven, players who are going to need time. And that's where you start to run the risk of having a transition season. And that's perfectly normal. If you're going to have a transition season and label it as a totally transition season, go for it, work away. But that's not something we've done. We've always been really good at preventing, you know, the typical transition season is where you submit to and accept the fact that you're going to have a bit of a down period. So if you're going to allow players like Grealish to go, Bernardo to go, maybe Walker to go, what are we doing? Do you know what I'm saying? What are we doing?
It doesn't make sense at all. Because, again, I mentioned it there like 5 minutes ago. Why would we all be going... Well, I say not we got all of us, and we're not going mad, but you ask most people about last summer, the signings we made, they'll probably tell you, and I'm inclined to agree, it wasn't good business for what we needed. There's some that have potential. Doku's got potential. But in terms of what we needed, it wasn't what we needed. It was a pretty poor summer, for all things considered, especially considering, you know, some of the transfer windows we have had over the years. You know, we signed in Haaland and all these players. It was a pretty disappointing summer, given the way it's panned out. So a lot of people out there would view the summer coming up as a big one in terms of getting it right and getting in the right players. And for me, the right players are experienced players, not old men, not 30-year-olds. I'm not talking about that experience. I'm talking about proven players, sort of mid-20s, players that are, you know, able to contribute right here, right now. We can't afford to go and sign 3 21-year-olds to replace Bernardo Silva, Kyle Walker, and, you know, whoever else may leave. We can't afford to do that, because then you run the risk of having this situation of having an inexperienced player playing more minutes than they should do and making mistakes, being a little bit inconsistent, and then inconsistencies bring inconsistent results. And given this season, where it's basically been a let-off because our performances and some of the results earlier on in the season were inconsistent, we're still, you know, currently top of the league with, you know, we're not top of the league. We're second with a game in hand, but it's still in our hands. Like, this is a blessing because we've not, like, blown it out of the water. We've not been good against the good teams, things like that. We can't afford to have a record like that next season, because if anyone has real aspirations of dethroning us, you know, I don't think we're going to get this opportunity next season if we have this record. So, yeah, I mean, look, that comment there, Gvardiol's been the only hit, and even then he's still, 22? And still has a little bit of inconsistencies at times, which is normal. You know, it's not normal for him to be performing at this level. Like, this is the things that people I don't think are getting is he might not be the most flashy player, might not get all the goals and assists, Grealish, but there's a lot of experience and a lot of, you know, basically guaranteed performances out the window for, you know, potentially Savio, who you don't know. Is he going to be good? Is he going to hack the Premier League? You know, something like that. So I really don't understand. I think it's shocking if we let him go because I don't really see one a need for again to let him go because I don't think he wants to go. So there's no circumstances to actually sell him. But for two, I don't see like a viable replacement who gives us something similar right now. There's players with potential, but we can't afford potential right now.
No, 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 no. Absolutely not. No, no, no potential. Potential should not be something that we're looking at. We need to be looking at players that are going to come in and impact right now, straight away. Players that are going to come in first day of the season. They look like they're meant to be here. They look like they're meant to play. The fact of the matter is, what Tukolsky is saying in the chat and what you're saying is true. Last summer's business was not good. It was not good business. It was not good business for right here, right now. This is rip the bandage off. It was not a good summer. You know what I mean? Letting go of Gundogan and Mahrez, and you're bringing in Doku, Vardiol, Kovacic, and Nunes. Doku, potential. He's in that category for potential, but we don't need any more potential. Kovacic and Nunes. Kovacic is just a stopgap. Kovacic is not a long-term Manchester City player. And Nunes, we don't know. We don't know what Nunes' role in the squad is. We don't know if he's going to be here come next season. We don't know if he's going to be here in 2 seasons. He could be one of those players that just gets sent on loan just to get him out of our squad and make room for someone else. We don't know. And then Vardiol, of course, the expensive one, came in and he's done a relatively good job for a 21-year-old. He's got potential too, kind of thing. There was nobody brought in that you're going to go, right, he's adding quality. Do you know what I mean? He's adding what something that we need or something that we're lacking. You're kind of filling holes, putting square pegs in round holes type thing. We can't have another summer like that. This summer needs to be filled with Paquetas, Bruno G's, Musialas, Verts, whoever's. I'm not saying we're going to get all of them or these are the specific ones that we must get, but this is the kind of band of players I'm talking about, players that are going to come in and they're statement signings. It's not, a City are kind of building for the future or, in a year or two's time, these kind of players will make sense. No, if we want to challenge for a potential 5th in a row or to regain our Premier League, that if we've lost it this season, I don't know. We need to make statement signings this summer. I mean, the summer beforehand, we got, who was it? Alvarez, Haaland, Ortega, and Calvin Phillips. Were they the only 4 that we brought in that summer, I think?
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, one of them has turned out to be a World Cup winner, and the other one scored 52 goals in the season. So and again, and then you look at Ortega as well. Ortega is probably going to go and discount Gomez. He's barely kicked a ball, and he was cost like what 15 million. So who really cares about that one? But like Ortega as well, very, very, very good backup. He's too good to be a backup goalkeeper. He'll get a top club when he leaves. I'm certain he'll leave because he should be starting. And he was free. That's unbelievable business because look at the caliber of players we signed and look at the money we spent on them as well. That was unreal business, some of that. It's just so different compared to what we've just done because, like you said, Kovacic was cheap, but he was a stopgap, so it wasn't like future-proofing, but it also wasn't like a good signing for this season because again, you look at it and he doesn't have multiple seasons with us. He's a stopgap. He was a cheap option. And he just doesn't really suit us, does he? Because he's not trusted to play as a 6 and he's better defensively. He's not very good going forward. So he's kind of in that sort of almost a limbo, really, that you don't really know what to do with him at times. So then you got Nunes, who, we both like Nunes, but we don't have a clue what's going on with that guy. So, I normally give a player, the first season's a write-off for me, for any player coming in under Pep. But obviously there are, mitigating circumstances where, of course, you still want something from them in their first season. They might be inconsistent. They might not play to the highest of levels, but you want something. You want a little bit. So we need a few big signings because it has to be a big summer. Because again, I don't think we can afford to go a whole season against the big 6 clubs and have only beaten, Manchester United home and away. I know we still got Tottenham away, and it's looking like we probably need to win that. But as it stands right now, we've only beaten Man United home and away in the league.
Yeah, that's poor. Question here from B says, would you take a swap for Grealish for Cole Palmer? No, I wouldn't. I'd keep Jack Grealish over Cole Palmer. And then Punny references the spending cap, which isn't active, as Elder says, until 2025. So this is kind of the last summer we have where we can really flex. Do you know what I'm saying? Like really, really flex. And then Witherspoon says, we've heard City stated about spending cash after completing the treble. Let's see how that'll go. This is the last summer. This is the last summer where City can really flex their muscles and flex their bank account. And they've been threatening to do so for years now. Do you know what I'm saying? It was 2-3 years ago we heard the words about the famous word war chest. And since then we've gone on to win trebles, we've gone on to win trophies and, recuperated massive, massive amounts of revenue, which more of them, in my opinion, need to be pumped into making signings. This is the summer where we have to flex. This is the summer where we have to get some bad press. And by bad press, I mean, get people complaining that City are spending money. Get people moaning that City are buying the league. That's what I want us to go back to doing, because right now I'm not sure about these kind of signings that we're making. I mean, Elder says we should spend 400 million. I'm not saying exactly what we should spend, but I think, be a little less pragmatic with it. If someone wants a certain amount for a certain player that we believe is going to impact us right here, right now, benefit us right here, right now, go and pay it. Do you know what I'm saying? If Pep really identifies Bruno G as someone he needs and someone he really wants, and Newcastle want the 100 million, go and give them 100 million. That's what I'm saying. It's not my money, so I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But if Pep wants it, give him it. That's basically what I'm saying. There is Fabrizio Romano has spoken about the Jack Grealish situation. I'll bring it up here. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. So he says, you can see that, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I'm aware there have been some slightly surprising links with Jack Grealish and Chelsea. However, I have zero information on this. Man City are not discussing Grealish's future, not even internally at this point of the season. It's all quiet. Is that a surprise? No.
I mean, yeah, we want to focus on our season. We've still got, 4 league games and a cup final to go? Why would we be concentrating on the future of one of our players? Wait until the end of the season. You're going to have time. Like, it's not like we're strapped for time. I know there's an international tournament. It's all right. England will be out of that within a few weeks. So who cares? You'll have time to discuss it with him. Trust me, he won't play there anyway. He could probably be on the phone while he's on the bench.
Yeah. Don't you think he doesn't start for England this summer, no?
No, absolutely no chance. I don't even think he's going to start Foden. So
what?
I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this. I hate that man so much. I despise that man.
Here's a question slightly off topic. Do you think Bellingham starts?
Yeah, of course he does. Did you see his performance last night? He stank up the gaff yesterday. He was honking. Even Ancelotti came out in his press conference and said he wasn't very good. But it's all right, though. First name on a team sheet for England.
Yeah, but the press would be like, wow, did you see that touch? Did you see that touch? You see the way he sprinted? Did you see the way...
Honestly, they do. He's got like the 2 most delusional media bases behind him. He's got the Madrid media and he's got the English press behind him. Like he could perform so bad to end the season, but if he wins the Champions League, he's the best thing since sliced bread, because he's got like 2 of the biggest media outlets behind him, regardless of how he plays. That's just how it is. That's the situation.
It's interesting, the Jude Bellingham stuff. Hugh, what to give yesterday's game? It was typical. The Madrid Bayern game is kind of what I expected. Madrid to do similar to what they did in the Etihad, which was set up really deep.
Similar to what they did against us, get dominated and go 1-0 up.
Yeah, that's the way they play. They look out of the game. They look like they're almost disinterested. Then bang, they'll just hit you with a goal. So it's as I expected. I fancy Madrid to go through. Big up Brendan Silva. Right, that's kind of the Jack Grealish news. There's a bit of news on right back situation. So we've spoken quite a bit, and I was on the City Report podcast, came out today with Amos. We recorded yesterday. We spoke a lot about Rico Lewis, and there was a question came in from one of the viewers about Rico Lewis and what his future looks like. And I want to get your take on it, Joe. What does next season look like for Rico Lewis? A lot of people are saying he needs to stamp his authority and nail down a position and this and that. And my opinion is it's too soon for that. I don't think that pressure needs to be put on Rico Lewis just yet.
No, but I want more game time.
I
think he warrants so much more game time next season. Like, I don't know where, in terms of where he's going to play, I don't really know, because he's played as a right back, he's played as a left back, he's lined up starting just in midfield. I mean, I think it's quite clear that Pep doesn't view him as like a defender. like a defender, because when he lines up at right back, he's always in the midfield. I don't think Pep really, if we were to go away from this whole inverted fullback thing, or centre half moving up, I don't think you'd see Rico Lewis play right back. Because I don't think Pep views him as a defender. I don't think he views him like physically, big enough as a defender. I don't think he's got the right qualities to be a good defensive player. He's very lightweight. What he's very good at and why he's been given the chance and why he's got the trust is because his football IQ and his technical ability is very, very good. So I think it kind of depends what we're going to do next season. What's the system? What's the plan? Like, are we going to go with attacking fullbacks? If we're going to go with attacking fullbacks...
He's your guy.
He's your guy. He's very good. He's got a good footballing IQ. He reads the game very well, and he's good technically. So he's your guy. If we're going to do the inverted thing, he's your guy. If we're going to do defensive fullbacks, he's not your guy. And then you're kind of looking towards playing him as an 8, which I'm not against the idea of, because I think he kind of, the way he plays kind of suits it. Like, what he's good at kind of suits being an 8. But then again, you're looking at the signings that we're linked with, Bruno G, Paqueta, Musiala, all these other players, does that limit his game time? So
let me show you my issue, Joe. Let me show you my issue here.
What's your main issue? My main issue is where'd you play him?
This is my issue. I'm going to get it up on the screen now. People saying this is what we need to do. Here's my issue.
Okay. Well, I spoke about I literally, 5 seconds ago, said that Rico Lewis is not like a good defender, because he's like lightweight, a bit small. Jeremy Frimpong is even worse at defending. Have you seen it? Have you seen his average position? Have you seen his average position when he plays for Leverkusen? It's down the right wing. He might line up as a right back, but if you look at who scored, SofaScore, whatever app you use for looking at this sort of thing, if you go to a Leverkusen game and look at the average position of the Leverkusen players, Jeremy Frimpong's down the touchline. He's not at right back. It's a potential disaster waiting to happen, if I'm going to be honest. Like, I get it. He's a good player for the right system. But we're going down almost the Cancelo territory of he cannot defend. He's not a defender. He's practically a winger.
People don't know about Jeremy Frimpong, man. People see Leverkusen won the Bundesliga and he was their quote unquote right back, so he must be blockbuster. Chat, let me tell you for a fact, there's over 100 in the building, by the way. Make sure you've hit the thumbs up button, man. Subscribe as well if you're new around here. Let me tell you about Frimpong. I am watching Frimpong a long time. A long time. I'll tell you that now for a fact. I watched him when he was in the City Academy at underage. I watched him when he went to Celtic. My dad's a Celtic fan, so I watched him a lot there. And let me tell you, Frimpong is a right winger. He was a right winger for City's Academy. He was a right winger for Celtic until the manager at the time, Neil Lennon, made Frimpong a right back because it was almost like Zinchenko situation. They had no right back at the time, so they turned the right winger into right back. He's not a defender. He's not an out-and-out defender. Frimpong is an attacking wide player. That's what he wants to do. Now, if you tell me that Rico can't do that, which is being an attacking wide player or invert, you're wrong, first of all. And of course, look, my overall point is, if we were to bring in Jeremy Frimpong, I don't care what his release clause is. I don't care if it's 35 million. I don't care if it's 5 million. That is a massive kick in the teeth to Rico Lewis. People get too excited over the idea of buying a player and triggering a release clause and bringing them in from abroad where they just won a league. There's hype around this player, and they refuse to acknowledge that right under our noses is a better player. Rico Lewis has a higher ceiling than Jeremy Frimpong. We do not need Jeremy Frimpong. We do not need any right-sided defenders or right fullback signings. We don't. You have Akanji, you have John Stones, and you have Rico Lewis. That's if Kyle Walker's to go. If Kyle Walker's to go, I'm not saying he needs to be replaced. I'm saying we have 3 very viable options for that area of the pitch already. You do not need to go and get Jeremy Frimpong.
I just took a look there when you were going on. The Leverkusen's last game was, if I'm getting this right, against Stuttgart. I'm looking at it here. Finished 2-2. Right? I'm on SofaScore. Average position. Jeremy Frimpong, right? They played with a 5. They played with wing backs, right? Jeremy Frimpong was a right wing back. It wasn't a right back. He was a bit further forward, right? Average positions. I've gone and looked at this. I don't know. I don't even know how I'm. Can I share this? Maybe, possibly. I don't know. Anyway, take my word for it. Jeremy Frimpong's little circle, number 30, is the most advanced player of Leverkusen's whole team. He's the highest player up on the pitch, and he's the right back. That's a disaster if he put because we don't play with a 5. We don't play wing backs. We play with full backs. If he's asked to defend, I'm not sure he can hack it. I'm really not. I'm not saying he's a terrible player. He's a bad player. He's a good player for the right system, but the right system is not ours.
Nah, he suits like a Liverpool or someone like that, man. That's where Jeremy Frimpong suits. He doesn't suit Manchester City, where the defenders have to be able to defend. Of course, they can get forward and they can get involved, like Walker and Vardy all do, and Ake does at times. But primarily, you have to be able to defend. Frimpong is not a defender. And I just think it's a massive kick in the teeth to Rico Lewis. You know what I'm saying? I just think if you're bringing him in, they're similar ages. I mean, Frimpong is 23. Rico Lewis is 19, nearly 20. So you're bringing in another young fullback who was in our academy anyway, and then we let go to play ahead of one we've just brought up from the academy, and in my opinion, is a better player. Rico Lewis is a considerably better defender than Jeremy Frimpong. So we need to step away all the time. I don't mind I like talking about bringing in players and buying players for the right situations and the right positions and so on and so forth, like midfield, like number 6, and that kind of thing, and wingers. You know, if Jack Grealish is going to go, but we don't need to just buy in players all the time, because our academy is producing players like Rico Lewis, like Oscar Bob, like Phil Foden. And there's a progression plan there. I always talk about the progression plan for players like Rico Lewis and Oscar Bob. I mean, the word on Oscar Bob came out today as well. Let me get it up here. Present, share screen. Yeah, here we go. Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob will not leave Man City this summer. Does that mean Oscar Bob is going to play a shitload of football next season? No. It doesn't. It just means Oscar Bob is going to move into the next year of his development. Just because you graduate from academy to first team does not mean your development is done. And all of a sudden you are entitled to be like, I must start, or we as a fan base must be like, why is X and Y not starting? The development is just getting started, my brother. The development is just beginning. And the only one we've seen really, really reap the rewards from being patient and trusting that is Phil Foden. So you call it Project Foden. How do you get the academy players into the first team and engage them fully with Project Foden? They have to show patience. We've seen so many of them go by. Brahim Diaz, Cole Palmer, Jadon Sancho. So many of them go by. They leave because they want first team football, and we're bringing in players in their position. So they're kind of going, what's the point in me sticking around? So it's a two-way street, man. It's a two-way street. We don't need Jeremy Frimpong. We do not need a right full back. If Kyle Walker's to go, Joe, I don't think we need to go and buy a right full back.
Not directly. No, I don't think it's a big priority. I mean,
it's low down, man. Low on the list.
To anyone who wants Jeremy Frimpong, right? What happens when next season we inevitably draw Real Madrid, because it happens every season in the Champions League, and they have Mbappe, Vinicius, and Rodrigo, and one of them, potentially 2 of them, are running it, Jeremy Frimpong? Are you confident?
No.
Or does it make you very nervous that Jeremy Frimpong is being ran at by Vinicius? So I don't trust him more than I would trust Rico Lewis. In fact, I'd trust Rico Lewis more, personally.
Do you know who cooked Jeremy Frimpong in a game that I watched once? And you'll never guess who it was. Cooked him. What?
Who cooked him?
I watched Frimpong play for Celtic at right back one night, and he got cooked differently by Mudryk for Shakhtar Donetsk.
Brother, the only thing Mudryk's got is Ukraine ball, mate. Ukraine ball. He's just got pace. He ain't very good. He's just got pace. So no, we don't need Jeremy Frimpong, man. It's just the wrong type of fullback. If we're gonna play like we do now, we're gonna continue this system. We've got multiple players who can cover that position. I ain't even saying that. I mean, I did that Walker video the other day. I wasn't even saying to sell Walker. Like, I wouldn't be against it, but I just don't want him to play every week. Like, I'd be all for keeping him if he doesn't have to play. And then obviously you got Akanji play right back, Stones can play right back, Rico Lewis can play right back. Like, do we need one? Do we really need one? Like, if you're gonna let Walker go, then maybe, because then you'd be putting a lot of trust in Rico Lewis. But no, I don't think it's desperate. The people saying Jeremy Frimpong, I think they kind of just look at the season Leipzig are having, looking at highlights of him scoring or putting in crosses and getting assists and being like, that's what we need. They're not looking at the other side of the pitch where he will be playing as a right back and he will also have to defend. He will not be he won't be afforded the license to do what he does at I keep trying to say Leipzig, I don't know why, Leverkusen, to bomb on. There's not a chance in hell that Jeremy Frimpong, his average position at City, would be the highest player on the pitch. Not a chance.
Well, we do own Jan Cuoto, who is getting a huge amount of interest from clubs around Europe, particularly in Spain. Real Madrid, that's the one with the title, by the way, people. City right back to Real Madrid. Real Madrid are very interested in Jan Cuoto. Obviously, our right back now, Real Madrid have Carvajal. They have, I saw, what's his name playing there last night? Lucas Vasquez was playing as a right back at points last night. So Jan Cuoto would be their out and out sort of right back option. The word is Jan Cuoto is waiting to meet Man City and his agents to know more about his future beyond the summer. The defender has a market and will have juicy offers from the clubs that can offer Champions League football. Now, is Jan Cuoto the kind of player we need? Another player I do not know a huge amount about. I don't know what kind of.
He's the same as Frimpong. He's the same as Frimpong. He's practically a winger.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he's already on the books, which I guess is a better step than Frimpong. So if we're that desperate for an attacking fullback, we got one in house. Yeah, we've already got one in the CFG. Like we had Porro as well. We let him go to Tottenham. Like, we've had attacking fullbacks. There's a reason why they're not at the club anymore. We don't play with them. We don't use them, and if we're going to use them, then again, why sign one if we've got one? Look at the season Girona are having. Season he's, having. But again, like I said, he's practically a winger.
So you're saying we don't need a player like Jan Cuoto then either?
I ain't saying yes or no. Again, I don't know what Pep's thinking for next season. I don't know whether he's thinking to change it up, switch it up, try different things, have different types of players in the squad. But if he's not, then again, it's not like a great situation, because we don't play with high-flying fullbacks. We did it against Brighton. That was one game this season.
I mean, Rodri says we don't need to worry about the defensive liabilities if he plays 3 solid centre-backs.
Yeah, but we've tried doing that this season. Look at the goals we conceded. We've been playing with 3 solid centre-backs and we've still been leaky. It just happens sometimes. We can't have a defensive liability. Look at Forest game, prime example. Vardiol, Ake, Akanji, 3 solid centre halves. Kyle Walker was the weak link. Forest attacked him and they got joy and probably should have scored 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. That was 1 weak link. We can't afford to have 1 weak link. Just look at Forest. It was literally the last game we played. We had 1 weak link and Forest probably should have got something out of that game. It's only because they're so bad. And they had Chris Wood up front, who was kicking air. They didn't. Like, if we have 3 solid centre halves on the pitch, and because we had 1 guy who looked disinterested, we got cut open. If we have Frimpong or Jan Cuoto or whoever bombing down the right, leaving their position,
I agree.
Cause the same issues.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, yeah, big up Masson with the super chat, man. Big up Masson with the £5. Says, Hugh, can you get a shark fin? Put it on your head and play Jaw theme tune on Big Six, please. If we win the league, it will be tell you what, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. I'll plan something massive if we win the league for the Big Six. I'll definitely plan something. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Big up for the super chat though. Shark fin on my head. Much of a dickhead I would look. Guys, make sure you've hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here as well. Is there anything else that we need to talk about? I'm just trying to think. Transfer wise, I'm not too sure. It's kind of just have a big summer, man. I think we need a big summer. Fair point, Joe. The ball was 3 feet from going in. We're always getting exposed down the wings, man. People cause most of our problems down the wings, or our fullback areas anyway. So, the midfield is kind of where we're at. I think mainly, isn't it? You know, Paqueta, Bruno G, Rodri backups, Rodri replacements, this type of thing. Probably could do with another out and out winger, couldn't we? On top of keeping Grealish and Doku and Oscar Bob. But who do you go for? What wingers are out there that we can go for?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like that's what I said at the start of the show as well. Even if you sell Grealish, there's not like an outstanding candidate to come in and you know take that long, go and replace him. Like it's just not one out there that's like available for a good price. There just isn't. Like there's good young players, but they're not proven. And if they're not proven, then there's no guarantee that they play well. And then you've just sold a player who you know is going to play well, or a player who may take a season or two. We can't afford to have a starter take a season to get acclimatized. We want to win leagues. We want to win trophies. We don't know how long we've got left of Pep. We want to maximize that window, not sign future-proofing players. We can do that after he's gone, and we need to, build something new. That's the reality of the situation for me. Is maximize what you've got now, and then when he decides to call it quits, then you hit the big fucking reset button and go again. We got no other option, but that's what it has to be. Why hit the reset button now if you've only got a year or two left, Pep? Why?
I agree. Witherspoon comes in. Do you believe Pep will expand his squad from 21 to 25, 26 players since they're playing so many matches?
Absolutely not.
No, it's not what he does, is it? It's not in Pep's nature.
No,
he likes a small squad.
Ever had a big squad. He's always had a small squad full of versatile players.
I don't expect that to change. Right, we're gonna wrap it up there. Big up everybody who joined us this afternoon. We'll be back tomorrow at 3:30. I've got Big Six Pro Clubs tonight, so there'll be no late night chat, but we will bring them back when there's more to talk about. Obviously, no midweek match this week, so there's not a huge amount to talk about. I might see, can I get some guests on tomorrow? I know I've been saying for ages I'll find some guests, but I'll shoot some messages this afternoon, see who's around for 3:30 tomorrow. Make sure you've hit the like button on your way out. Make sure you're subscribed if you're new, and see you tomorrow at 3:30. Enjoy the rest of your day, people.